Hello everyone, John Carlson here. So, going to be doing the last love language tonight. And this last love language can get a little explicit, just going to warn you, because this is the physical touch love language. And so I'll be reading off the notes, and sometimes, probably get into a little bit of the sex language, but it won't be like, who and what you're touching. But the physical touch love language is not always what people think. So keep your ears peaked, and this is where you're going to want to pay attention to, okay, well, is this something that my partner is more on the spectrum of? Because when I reach out for that physical touch, they respond quite well to it. So in physical touch, this is not limited to one localized area of the body. And yep, got my notebook again here. So throughout the body, there are these little tiny tactile receptors. They are not scattered everywhere, but arranged in clusters. It can make or break a relationship. It can communicate hate or love. It will be for it, it will be for louder than words. So those who are more on the physical touch realm, it will speak louder to them than the words of affirmation side of things. Lovingly touching your spouse almost anywhere can be an expression of love. It doesn't mean all touches are created equal. Don't just touch in your way and in your time. Learn to speak their love dialect. Again, the dialects happen in every language in the love languages world. They may find some touches uncomfortable or irritating. Continuing those types of touches communicates the opposite of love. It communicates you are not sensitive to their needs, and you care little about their perceptions of what is pleasant. So don't make the mistake of believing that the touch that brings pleasure to you will bring pleasure to them. Okay, it goes back to that dialects then. So love touches may be explicit. They demand your full attention, like a back rub, foreplay that leads to sex. Love touches may also be implicit and require only a moment. So patting your hand on their shoulder as you pour a cup of coffee, rubbing your body against them as you pass in the kitchen. Explicit love touches tend to take more time, not just in actual touching, but in developing your understanding of how to communicate love loudly to your spouse this way. If a back massage communicates the love loudly to your spouse, spending time, money, and energy in learning how to do this well will be a good investment. If sex is your spouse's primary dialect, reading and discussing the art of sex will enhance your expression of love. Like I said, gets a little explicit. Implicit love touches require little time, but much thought, especially if physical touch is not your primary love language, nor if you did not grow up in a touchy family. I grew up in a little bit of one, but not by much. Sitting close to each other as you watch your favorite TV program requires no additional time, but may communicate your love loudly. Touching your spouse as you walk through the room where they are sitting takes only a moment. Touching each other when you leave the house and again when you return. It may involve only a brief kiss or hug, but will speak volumes to your spouse. When you figure out this is your spouse's love language, you are only limited by your imagination on ways to express love. Coming up with new ways and places to touch can be an exciting challenge. Being an under the table toucher will add a spark to your dining out. Apparently can sometimes not read my own writing here. Holding hands in public as you stroll through the parking lot. Kissing as soon as you get into the car together may enhance your travel together or travels. Hugging your spouse before they go shopping, not only to express love, but may bring them home sooner. Try new touches in new places. Let your spouse give you feedback on whether they find it pleasurable or not. They have the final word. You are learning to speak their language. So to touch their body is to touch them. Withdrawing from their body is to distance yourself from them emotionally. Shaking hands in our society is a way of communicating openness and social closeness to another individual. Considering what's going on, you always have to ask permission on that one because not everybody is comfortable with that right now. All societies have some form of physical touching as a means of social greeting. In every society, there are appropriate and inappropriate ways to touch members of the opposite sex. In a marriage, the couple themselves determines what is appropriate and inappropriate touching within certain broad guidelines. The boundaries are for touching and not for abuse. The last page, I believe, here. In a time of crisis, we hug one another. This is almost instinctive. We need to feel loved in a time of crisis. So changing events is not always something we can do, but we can survive if we feel loved. All marriages will experience crises. Nothing is more important to your partner than holding them while they cry for it in a time of crisis. The tender touch will be remembered long after the crisis is past. The failure to touch, if that is their love language, won't be forgotten. So in physical touch, it can express love, but it can also be irritating if you're not paying attention to the way they like to be touched. Again, it can be a very simple moment-by-moment thing, or it can be something that can take a bit more time. All of these love languages blend together to some degree, and eventually I'll go over that at some point. But you'll want to pay attention to see if the physical touch is your partner's primary love language, because you'll see how they respond to it. So thank you guys for watching these, and if you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, have a great night or great day, depending on what time it is, and enjoy.